Patrick and I were having a conversation after the talk, and he was talking about some struggle. Maybe I think it was with food. And then he said, I started reading the Gospel of John over the weekend. I said, how funny. I just kind of was driving to Medford the other day and turned it on the radio because it was my favorite thing when one day I said, I want to read.
Where'd you get that?
What?
Oh, you mean from your phone?
Just on the phone,
okay,
yeah.
Go ahead.
And like probably 10 or 15 years ago, I thought, I've never just taken one book in the Bible and started from the beginning and read it to the end. This idea came to me and I thought, John, I don't even know where that came from. So it was the Gospel of John and I started reading it. And from the opening, it was like, wow. I had to just stop and just wow. And that whole book was just wow to me through it, the whole thing. And even at the very end, I just sat there and I was like, wow.
Now I got to go read it.
That is the greatest story ever told. That's what they call it, right? But it truly is the greatest story ever told. So anyway, he said he had been listening, and so our conversation was cut short, and it was just kind of percolating in me over the weekend, and I just started writing some things down, and I sent him a response. I think I should just read it because it has it all in there.
You could read it. You could read it. All right. And the thing is that she sent it to me, and she says, "What do you think about this?" I said, "I would send it to him."
No.
And
what do you mean I would send it to? I had already sent it to him.
Oh, that's what it was. You said.
No, he said he wanted to print
post
it or something.
Post it on his old school podcast.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, yeah, if I post it on the Foundation's page, it doesn't have context. Yeah. So he could put context. So go ahead.
And that was just him.
And you only have 30 seconds, so hold on. Let me just get to the other.
We'll read on the other side.
Anyway, Jan and Alan Masters, Foundation of Human Understanding, started by Roy Masters, my father, in around 1961 time frame. And, of course, it takes a little bit of time to get up and going. But, boy, that is 60-some-odd years. And he passed away in 2021 and then put the reins in my hand with no instruction manual other than 25 books. And 55 years worth of radio.
Being his son.
And being his son. But it's a journey, isn't it? It's fun. We'll be right back and you can hear Jan's story. All right, Alan and Jan Masters. Jan was going to read something that she had, a conversation she was having. I read it and I thought, boy, that is really beautiful and profound. So I don't know whether you want to set it up again. And just a little bit of a setup and then read your response. So
he, Patrick was telling me that he was struggling with food addictions and things like that. And he started reading the scriptures to see if that would help. So this is what I started writing. I said, Patrick, I had a few other things come to mind after we spoke on Sunday. You mentioned that you were honestly going to the scriptures to help with your addiction to food. That's not necessarily a bad thing because I do believe that reading the scriptures is in itself a source of food, soul food, if you will, or food for the spirit. Read it with a hungry heart that wants to know the truth about who you are and who made you and why. It's that relationship right there with the creator of the universe where the emptiness is arising from. We are not to read the scriptures for the sake of intellectual knowledge or to find a recipe to fix the problem we have. We are to read the scriptures in search of the one who wrote them, that we might know him, that he might be revealed to us through what is written, that our spirit might be quickened and our heart touched by what is revealed beyond the written word and yet through the written word. What is the purpose for the written word, anyway? As for any of us, when we write something, it's because we have something to say. The same is true with God. He has something to say. And he has recorded it in the scriptures as a witness of his truth and his love and his plan for mankind. We can and should meditate daily and seek God's presence there. However, I have noticed from my own experience and from observing others that those who neglect or disregard the Bible altogether never seem quite fulfilled, constantly disappointed, over-focused, and struggling with their own shortcomings or the shortcomings of others. But just like Peter in the scriptures, if we would just keep our eyes on Jesus, we could walk on water. LOL. Basically, what I'm saying is that I believe the meditation and the scriptures go hand in hand. An avid Bible reader would be greatly enriched by learning to be still, and an avid meditator would be greatly enriched by reading the scriptures, as they can help to lead us to that stillness with gratefulness, praise, and an open heart.
Well said, Jan.
Thank you.
Well said. Because too many people get fixated on one thing, and I watch people do it on both sides, what we call the meditators, of people that learn my father's meditation, and some have been doing it for 50 years, and they say, oh, well, I've never been able to do it right.
And your dad had a deep understanding of the scriptures.
Yeah, he did, boy.
And
he
Jesus,
did.
He had a deep
He
understanding.
used to read. He was reading all the time. He was reading all kinds of different versions of the Bible. He would read the Quran. He would read Buddhist stuff, and he would read it just to see, is there, and making sure that I completely understand everything. And sometimes he would just say, oh, it's a bunch of hogwash. And sometimes he'd say, this is and he would talk about it on the radio. But
and it would testify to things he knew, or whatever. But it all goes hand in hand.
But it's the same, though, with the meditators and the Bible thumpers.
If there's
when they get fixated on one thing,
right,
it's all.
Then guess what? Then it's not God.
That's right. It's just a tool. I was about to say.
And like you said about Jim Carrey, he's going into the spiritual, but yet it's not grounded.
Well, and that's how Satan did to Eve. He said, "It's not true what God said. You can be a god too."
Yeah, totally.
And it was the same kind of temptation for Jim Carrey. He's such a conflicted man. You watch him, and he's got one toe in hell, and he tries to have one toe in heaven, but the devil has created this, what do you want to call it, a virtual heaven for him. And so he kind of likes
knowledge,
his knowledge and the depth of knowledge of being funny and being dark, and some of his jokes are nasty.
Is he
and
still?
dirty. And,
I don't think he does that anymore.
Oh, well, all I can say is that I don't know. I don't follow him. So he will say that he did, at least for the long time, and he likes to also feel very above other people in the fact that he feels like he has this greater understanding about life. The problem is, where is it leading us? Where is it leading him? Is it leading him to the kingdom of heaven, of which you don't hear him talk about? That it's the universe.
It's a very impersonal God.
Well, he doesn't. He's so much, and I can't say because I have heard him mention. So it's like it could be that it's the long journey, kind of like Jordan Peterson used to be an atheist.
Absolutely, no. I've heard
kind of
many.
Like Russell Brand used to be a whoremonger.
Many New Agers.
Yeah.
Are searching, but they
That's
end
why you
up
don't
getting
judge.
caught into a darkness.
Look, I don't judge the guy. I'm happy that he's seeing little bits and pieces, because we're building a foundation. We're building a foundation for our life to be able to stand on. And some of those bricks sometimes break. And you take them out and you throw them away and you replace them. When you're building that foundation one brick at a time, it's like one day at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 year at a time. Sometimes for many of us, 1 decade at a time. And you finally, when you're an old man or woman, you wake up and go, I got it.
And the best realization to me, when you're going down the spiritual path, is it's not just a universe of nothingness, of impersonal. It's personal.
Yeah.
You have a Father that adores you and loves you just like you would love your own child. That's what makes it worth it. That's what makes you feel belonging. But people are floating out there like fatherless children trying to find their value, and you can't get it without the Father.
That's right. Yeah, Patrick Rooney says, well said. Thank you, Alan and Jan. And you can find, if you've posted that or not, they could see the whole conversation. Maybe check out Old School Patrick Rooney's Old School, or find Patrick Rooney on social media. It's Perilous World Radio. There's another hour. Stay with us.